Night after night here on the UK Tonight, we have spoken to the families of those caught up in this war between Israel and Hamas. Night after night, they have recounted with the utmost dignity and eloquence the horror that is their family's reality. How are they able to do this? The known and the unknown, equally unbearable. How are they finding the words for the unspeakable horrors unfolding? I think that as they tell me their stories, and I know that you do too, well, they do it, as my next guest Adam says, because every life matters. And I think we all feel that that is something that above all has to be remembered in the midst of this war. Adam's cousin Mayan was killed in the attack in Israel. Her death live streamed by Hamas and seen by her family here in the UK. He told me what happened.
You know, inevitably what happens in the sort of initial period of chaos is it's always difficult to know exactly what's happening. It's always difficult to get through to everybody because the lines are clogged and lots of people are WhatsApping and DMing each other all the time, texting. So I started to hear from a few people. I started to feel a bit reassured that people were okay. Meanwhile, the Shabbat services were going on at the local synagogue, and I was ushering people in and out. And obviously everybody in the local community were very distraught, and there were a lot of people concerned and trying to get in contact with friends and family from their side. So there was a lot of hugs, a lot of tears, a lot of worries and fears. And it was a very emotional morning. Unfortunately, I didn't get through to a lot of people, friends, family that I was still trying to hear from. And it was only through another day and into the evening of Sunday before I heard the awful news about Mayan and Tzachi, my cousins, living out in Nachal Oz in a kibbutz near the Gaza border. What I found out was that the Hamas terrorists had, under the cover of rocket fire, typically what happens in these communities, because they're so close to the Gaza border, you have about 15 seconds to get into a bomb shelter when you hear a rocket siren. Everyone just comes, it's early morning, so everyone's in their pajamas. They run to the bomb shelter. They huddle in there until they get the all clear. Unfortunately, as that was happening, Hamas terrorists started shooting and infiltrated the kibbutz, a small community, 500 people living there. And they could hear the gunfire, and they huddled inside the bomb shelter, hoping that they can avoid it. And of course, the Hamas terrorists broke through the bomb shelter door, took them all out, and that was when they killed Mayan, my 18-year-old cousin. We only learned a few days later that Hamas also filmed it. The terrorists live streamed it to their channels, and it was one of the first images that was released in their attack, where you can see Mayan's siblings crying. You can hear the gunshots that killed her, and you can see the blood on Tzachi's hands as he tried to desperately help her. The parents, Tzachi and Gali, were in pure terror, but also instinctively, bravely trying to save the rest of their children, and were cooperating as best they could while they were being filmed by the terrorists.
First of all, I'm so incredibly sorry for your family's loss. It's just horrific. And what do you want to see happen next? Because you hear people go, this has set any peace process back decades, if not more. What can come of this? What should come of this, in your opinion? I know it's a really difficult question, Adam, but I just want to get a sense of how you're feeling right now.
I mean, there's the political questions, and then there's the real sort of human story here, which is that there are a number of hostages currently being held by Hamas, an estimate of at least 200, mostly civilians, many of them children. So obviously for me, and I think for everyone in Israel and all Jews around the world, our first instinct is to think, well, let's save our people. Let's bring our hostages back. Mm-hmm. Let's see how we can best do that. I don't have the answer to how one does that. On the political question, we've seen who Hamas are. We've known who Hamas are. Their charter explicitly calls for the death of all Jews worldwide. Their founding charter, it's their belief system. They're not even that interested in this life. They believe in an afterlife of glory and martyrdom. That's what they celebrate. This is a death cult. And so how do you make peace with a death cult that wants to kill you?